Entry number 3. This is day 3 of my daily journaling. And today I'm going to record one of my biggest findings, one of my biggest revelations that always helps me to snap out and get into the right state as soon as things start feeling disappointing, stressful, start the anxiety starts creeping upon me. So, this formula, which is so simple yet so potent, is the result of my findings throughout the past 2 years in pursuit of a formula that actually works every time without a failure to immediately create a state of change in my personal mood whenever feeling down, disappointed, depressed. By the way, those feelings are all neutral and natural. Getting stuck with them is the problem. So if I get stuck with them, that's when it becomes a problem. Otherwise, feeling like them is okay. Just an acknowledgement as to their cause, to their existence, and not denying them, not brushing them under the rug, but to just simply acknowledge their existence and to find the root cause of what within me was triggered by an external stimuli to actually give symptoms that within my body are being felt as undesirable and by the time a lot of times desirable. Nevertheless, analytically thinking about and working on these answers will completely change and shift the paradigm that we live in. And that is how paradigm architect was born. Because essentially, to experience something completely different than what we are today, all we need to do is to completely shift our perspective. Now, that becomes a later conversation, but the conversation of today is how we can do an instant shift of perspective at the moment, because how we feel is literally controlled by our bodies through the regulation of biochemicals that our body produces. So, for example, when feelings of anxiety and stress and fear are taking over, amygdala is literally going in and producing neonephrine and cortisol into the body, which trigger instantly our fight or flight systems, reducing blood flow to major organs within the body, such as brain and digestive tract and the immune system, increasing blood flow to the muscular system and all the muscles, obviously, because the body is in anticipation of a fight or flight. Now, who's responsible for releasing those chemicals? I am. And every time I feel like I'm stressed out or disappointed, I go through that exact same evolutionary process where billions of years have created the perfect scenario for your body to protect itself and survive. But I guess because of how quickly we have come in terms of our access to technology and how much that technology has changed entirely our experience of the very life that we're submerged in. Our brains and our physical bodies have not yet had the chance to keep up. Therefore, any stressor, albeit it being somebody who doesn't like what I look like or my partner doesn't approving of something, or my in-laws, or my friend who's jealous, or the situation financially, or the next bill coming in, all those things keep on triggering. On top of that, the bad news that we keep on getting bombarded with. And here's the thing, here's the formula. Every time we get depressed or we feel fear or any other low vibrational thoughts, where we turn more into matter than energy, in those times our perspective, ouch, just bit my own tongue. That hurt a bit. So our perspectives have triggered our safety system into panic mode. Therefore, the logical reverse engineering, or being the architect of your paradigm, as per se, is to figure out how exactly do I interrupt my patterns of believing at that moment that my life is in danger. And the way you can do that is just by staying just kind of aware that you are getting nervous or frightened or angry or hurt or betrayed, or whatever feeling you want to, negative emotion you want to attribute the label to. And as soon as we do that, we understand that we are having expectations in our mind that is not being met. And by the virtue of having expectations, we always know that the only way you can get disappointed is by having an expectation to begin with. So now, since you're not responsible for how the external world behaves, the only thing you do by having an expectation is setting yourself up for failure, because things will never turn out the way you expect them to be. That is one of the beauties of life. And that's a different conversation. The need to control the external world, that's a whole different conversation. And why we do that, by the way, which I had to come within terms with myself not to do that. That's another journal. But the way to do it is at that instant moment to flip the switch and understand that if I just replaced my expectation that gives me the perspective I'm having right now, which is for any reason not met, with gratitude, that will calm my entire nervous system down, and all my hormones will start getting checked. And with doing that, blood will go back to my brain, which will allow me the possibility to actually process information and not think emotionally and behave in ways without even using my brain, let alone any higher powers of mine. So I'm not talking about boo-hoo, woo-hoo here. I'm just talking about the brain science. Next time that I do get to those levels of being in the middle of a fascinating experience that wouldn't be pleasant at the moment, I just have to always, and have been, by the way, which is how my life has been turning a flip on its head, and it's allowed me to be traveling the world while getting paid to do things that I absolutely love and to serve people and be paid for that. These opportunities have all come because of the actions I've taken. So whenever I go in doubt, come back and check these voices, because they are an attestation to the absolute phenomenon results that I've been seeing and experiencing every day of my life for the past decade, but specifically year and a half, as every week of the year and a half that has passed has been intentionally spent creating. And today I am experiencing exactly everything the way I wanted it to be, as I wrote it in my books, as I drew them for myself. And it's so beautiful to see it work. I don't know why I would have ever thought or second guessed that there was any way but the only way. Anyways, enough for this episode, and off to the next.